Missiles over the Middle East, sirens in Tel Aviv, explosions in Beirut. 9 days into the war between Iran, Israel, and the United States, the conflict is expanding across multiple fronts. And now, a major political development inside Iran may shape what happens next. Day 9 of the war has brought a dramatic new development. Iran's Assembly of Experts has officially chosen Mojtaba Khamenei as the country's new supreme leader, succeeding his father, who was killed during the first wave of the war.
Breaking news coming in. According to latest reports, Iran's Assembly of Experts has elected Ali Khamenei's son, Mojtaba, as the next leader under pressure from the Revolutionary Guard.
At the same time, missile attacks continue, Israeli airstrikes are expanding across the region, and tensions between global powers are rising. Here are the key developments shaping the conflict today. Iran names a new supreme leader. In breaking news, Iran's clerical leadership body, the Assembly of Experts, has chosen Mojtaba Khamenei to succeed his father as the country's supreme leader. The assembly called on the Iranian public to remain united and pledge allegiance to the new leader. Mojtaba Khamenei has long been seen as a hardline figure with close ties to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the powerful military force that plays a central role in Iran's political system. Despite his influence behind the scenes, Mojtaba Khamenei has rarely appeared in public politics. Analysts say this was likely intentional, a way to shield him from criticism while he operated quietly within the system. For years, he reportedly acted as a gatekeeper to his father's office, controlling access to the former leader and building alliances with security and intelligence officials. His rise to power is controversial. Some critics argue that the succession effectively creates a political dynasty, something the 1979 Iranian Revolution originally sought to eliminate. Early protests and mixed reactions inside Iran. The announcement of the new supreme leader triggered immediate reactions across Iran. Reports say crowds gathered in several cities shortly after the decision was broadcast through loudspeakers and media outlets. Some government supporters welcomed the decision and pledged loyalty to the new leader. But other groups reportedly began chanting slogans against him, reflecting long-standing divisions inside the country. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps quickly released a statement declaring its readiness to follow Mojtaba Khamenei. Meanwhile, Iran's parliament leadership called loyalty to the new leader both a religious and national duty. Still, questions remain about his religious credentials. Unlike many senior clerics, Mojtaba Khamenei had not previously been widely recognized as an ayatollah or published significant religious scholarship. However, Iranian media now report that he has been elevated to that title as part of the transition to leadership. Israel and the US intensify strikes on Iran. While the leadership transition unfolds, the war itself continues to escalate. Israeli and US forces have carried out heavy airstrikes on Iranian infrastructure, including oil depots in Tehran. Witnesses described massive explosions and thick black smoke covering parts of the city. Some residents reported that the night sky briefly looked like daylight during the bombardment. Targeting oil infrastructure represents a major escalation because it strikes at Iran's economic backbone, not just its military capabilities. Israeli officials say the campaign is meant to weaken Iran's ability to continue the war. Iranian missiles reach Israel. Despite the strikes on its territory, Iran continues to launch missile attacks toward Israel. Another barrage targeted central Israel and the Tel Aviv area. Air raid sirens sent residents rushing into bomb shelters overnight. Emergency responders said several people were wounded, and damage was reported in parts of the city. Israel's layered missile defense system intercepted many of the incoming projectiles. However, reports suggest that some missiles may have reached the ground, possibly landing in open areas. Iran has increasingly used multiple waves of missile launches, targeting different regions minutes apart. Analysts believe the goal may be to overwhelm Israel's air defense systems through saturation attacks. Hezbollah intensifies attacks from Lebanon. Another major front in the war is now active along Israel's northern border. Hezbollah has launched rockets and drones into northern Israel almost daily since the conflict began.
Some attacks have targeted military and defense infrastructure deeper inside Israeli territory. Among the sites Hezbollah claims to have targeted are the Ramat David Air Base near Haifa, Israeli air defense radar systems, military facilities near Tel Aviv, and infrastructure connected to Israel's defense industry. If accurate, these attacks suggest Hezbollah may be trying to weaken the systems that protect Israel from missile attacks, rather than simply hitting border positions.
Israel expands operations in Lebanon. Israel has responded with large-scale airstrikes across Lebanon. Explosions have hit Beirut's southern suburbs, while Israeli forces have also struck targets across southern Lebanon and the Bekaa Valley. According to Lebanese authorities, nearly 400 people have been killed in Israeli strikes over the past week. Hundreds more have been wounded, and hundreds of thousands have been displaced. The United Nations says almost 500,000 people have registered as displaced since the fighting intensified. Israeli ground troops have also moved deeper into southern Lebanon, establishing forward defensive positions along the border. Attacks spread across the Gulf. The conflict is also spilling into the Gulf region. Iran says it is targeting U.S. military assets located in Gulf countries. Explosions have been reported in several locations, including a drone strike on a government building in Kuwait that sparked a large fire. The United Arab Emirates says it has detected hundreds of Iranian ballistic missiles launched toward the region over the past week. These attacks have alarmed Gulf governments that are trying to avoid becoming direct participants in the war. Humanitarian impact growing. As the conflict spreads, humanitarian agencies warn the civilian toll is rising rapidly. Hundreds of thousands of people have been displaced across Lebanon and surrounding areas. Aid officials also warn the war is causing ripple effects in already fragile countries such as Afghanistan and Pakistan, where economic pressures and displacement are increasing. The United Nations has described the situation as a moment of grave danger for the region. What happens next? The war is now entering its second week. It spans multiple fronts, from Iran and Israel to Lebanon and the Gulf. Missiles continue to fly, leadership inside Iran has changed, and the humanitarian impact is growing. For now, neither side appears ready to step back. Day 9 of this war shows just how quickly a regional confrontation can evolve into something much larger. A new supreme leader has taken power in Iran. Missiles are still landing across the region, and millions of civilians are living under the threat of escalating violence. What happens next will depend not only on the battlefield, but on the decisions now being made in Tehran, Washington, and Jerusalem. And as the conflict continues, the biggest question remains: how far will this war spread before it finally ends?